Hey there fellas, today's session we're gonna be covering weight transfer initiation. So I'll try to keep it very simple, gonna address a lot of problems, a lot of things, and next session we're going to be addressing ramp up. So by the end of this video, you will learn how to initiate using liftoff. And let me elaborate. So you know exactly how to use weight transfer, at least for initiation, and then obviously it can be applied to transitions for later on and so on. So in order for us to be on the same board regarding liftoff, it can mean two things, either partial liftoff or full liftoff. Now partial liftoff is something when you lower a little bit or a certain amount, and full liftoff is when you're on the gas and fully lift off, if this makes sense. Now we're gonna go here to the donut. Again, what you want to do today. We're now here on the donut. Let me position myself here. I see a little bit weird, so let me just see here. Again, you could see it with the GoPro. We're just right above the tiny donut here. Maybe a little bit too much forward, so I'll go a bit. How do you know if you're in the right place? Well, you just want to make sure you're at the peak of the curb here, so at the top of the curb. Next thing you want to do, guys, once you're here, we're gonna use the same analogy, nothing changes. We're gonna be using again minus 160, and then we're gonna be using second gear, and then we'll go up to 60. What will change today though is that we're gonna be lowering and going back up on the gas. This makes sense, and you see we're back on start. So what is the difference between weight transfer initiation and the power over initiation that I did last time, the video? Is let me explain a little bit of things. We need some context and we need some theory before we continue. When we do power over, okay, I need to show this. When we do the previous initiation, this is way harder, and I'll explain why. When we do this type of initiation where the car will slip because we're waiting the engine to build up enough power to send to the rear wheels, so then the rear wheels obviously slip when we lose enough traction and we go sideways. The back is stepping out, stepping out, stepping out, we're building rotation, and we're gaining the angle and so on. Then today, obviously, why the first one is very hard, why the previous method is very hard, is because you need to have a lot of experience. This is what I've understood over time. Why is it so hard for you guys is because you really need to have a lot of experience, so that you first need to know exactly how much pressure you need to apply with your hands. For me, it's just enough to let them like just chill on the wheel, and then when I go up to 60, the goal is to keep the wheel stay up to when the car builds enough power. And then what's gonna happen is when the car builds enough power, the back slips. When the back slips and we go sideways, the car will immediately start self-steering to the opposite side. But the thing is that most of you guys will lock down on the wheel, you'll grab it and so on. This is subconscious, and I believe it's because you don't trust the car yet and you don't know exactly what's going to happen, so you don't want to risk spinning out and so on. Is this fear of giving control to somebody else that you're not sure of. So in a sense, you're building this relationship and this trust with the car, so that you know what the car is going to do. Why today we're going to be using weight transfer? Way easier, way more common. Most people do this way, this method. And again, we're going to be using only gas, so the throttle only. How do we do this? We're going to be using partial liftoff when we go up to second. Again, we set minus 160. We're at the peak of the curb. Then we're gonna go up to 60 a little bit, and then once we reach the bottom half of the circle, we're gonna lower the gas, and then we're gonna increase. We're gonna talk about more in depth about the ramp up in the next video. Now, what you need to know. You ask, how do I know when to lower, when to partially lift off? Okay, let me explain. In a nutshell, when the tires are super cold or a little bit warm, when they're cold, they're very grippy. When they're at the peak of their grip, they are pretty much warmed up. So when they're a little bit warm, they're super grippy. They're at the peak of their grip. And that means we'll need to build a lot of speed, and we'll need a lot of distance, a lot of space to weigh the engine to build up that speed and that power, and then we could force the initiation ourselves. With the weight transfer initiation, we are the ones forcing the initiation, forcing the car to break loose. While with the first type of initiation, we waited on the car to build up enough power and then to break loose. This time, we're in charge. Think of like you're the boss, you're with the coat, and then you decide when to pull the trigger. You decide when to initiate, but you need to account for some factors. What are the factors? When we are about to initiate, we're gonna talk a little bit about tires now. As I mentioned to you guys, when the tires are cold and the car is very grippy and they haven't started to cook up a bit and get very heated like red, and the PSI to get red and very high, then the car is gonna be very grippy and you need to push way more speed so you can put way more load on the car. And then when you lower, you're gonna shift all this load and it's gonna help you to break loose on the rear. And I'll explain a bit how everything works. When we go up to 60 and we hold, car builds up speed, load, and then we just lower. But this time the car just, I waited too long. And it slipped on itself, and I just empowered the rotation by lowering and shifting the load. Now, when we build speed and the car goes through the corner, well, in this case we're going left, then what's happening? The car we start from here, we start to go through the wheel like this, and we're building speed, 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 speed. In this case, watch. Go up to 60, hold, car builds speed, 10, 20, 30. Just as we're gonna reach the bottom, we'll lower, and if it's not enough because the car is very grippy, as we go back up on the gas, we bring more power to the rear, and we lose whatever is left of this traction, we overcome it. So, if you want, however, to not have to obviously go up, which we will need to, then you just wait a little bit more. The grippier you are, the more distance and the more time you'll have to wait for the car to pass and you to overcome the grip on the rear. For now, since you're super gripped up and you need a lot of distance, you will probably initiate the same way if we're on the top center of the donut. Look at the steering wheel, where the top center will probably be initiating before we come to the bottom, 180. So about right here. About right this place here is where you want to prepare. So minus 160, go up to 60, wait, 3, 2, 1, down and up on the gas. In physical way, is probably gonna be up and down because you are lifting your foot up and then you press back. No pause. Remember, no pause. Simple up and down with your foot. You can practice this. One practice that you guys can do is practice this motion. You go up, you're on 60, you hold, then up and down, up and down, up and down. And if you look at the graph, you'll see how you're making these same mountains, and you practice this. Do this for 1-2 minutes to build that muscle memory. Think of the gym. You practice the same movements. At first you're a bit shaking, you try some new weight, something's like completely new to the body is very stressed. And then you get the hang of it and you're like, oh yeah, up and down, like damn, boom, 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 you know? It's very simple. Everything that uses or includes your body is the same. It's all about muscle memory, guys. Practice the muscle memory. Now, when you've practiced a little bit and you're ready, we're gonna go and do this again. 60, wait, lower, and back up, and let the wheel do its thing. You see, I didn't do jack crap with the wheel. So again, what I want you to understand, we are not even going to bother with the steering wheel now. Forget about the steering wheel. The only thing you guys need to know is apply the minimal pressure possible until you reach the slipping point where, or the initiation point where you're gonna be forcing the car to initiate. So that means the bottom of the donut for now, because we're very gripped up. I'm not doing tons of donuts for the car to, you know, heat up the tires, and I'll talk about tires when they heat up very soon. So Since we did this, again, our goal now is we want to channel all of our focus down to our right foot, which is the throttle. So again, we build up, forget about the wheel, only keep it here, and when you go up, just let it move. Let it move. You see how it moved? Just let it move. If you can't work out, like in a how to drift video, I believe was 15, the hand positioning video, where I work the hand pressure technique, where you let it slow it down, like force versus force, your hands to apply a little bit of pressure versus the wheel that tries to counter steer. The more the wheel is late, the more it's gonna try to push through you, because it's like, oh man, we gotta save the wheel, let me move. So it's gonna build up a lot of strength, so it's building a lot of force against you. So since you know this, if it's hard for you to do this, you can study it and work on it later once you grab the concept. Start simple, guys. Start simple, baby steps, small steps, and you build yourself up. Again, go up to 60. We're a bit back, I believe, but we're gonna get good on line. Wait, lower, initiate, let the wheel move, and then we're gonna go back up. The car will naturally grab the perfect, rotation and the line, usually. We're gonna talk about the line and so on, and I'll tell you what is the whole goal before I continue. The goal of these initiations is to set yourself for success. You want to set yourself the best approach later for tracks or for whatever you're doing. So since we want to go in a circle, we're setting ourselves for the perfect approach. We want right off the bat from the initiation to get the correct angle, the correct speed, the correct line, the correct momentum, everything. And then what's gonna happen? We go up to 60, watch. We go up to 60, 60 something. Then we force the initiation lower, slowly build up, ramp up. Watch. I don't even have to do almost anything. I need to just a little bit turn. You see how the car started going exactly where it needs to go. And if I kept the gas or increased it a little bit, I would have amplified this rotation that I created from the beginning. That was perfect, and I would just control it with the throttle. That's all the maintaining which we'll do later. So what you need to know now. For this, let's do some troubleshooting now, since you know what you have to do. You've turned the wheel, minus 160. Let's say you're still failing, you're still confused. You've turned the wheel, minus 160. Go up on the gas, use 60 or 65. You reach here, you lower and let the wheel go. Just don't care about the goddamn wheel. Let it go, bro. Trust me. You have to, I know it's hard, you have to believe. Trust me. If you're not gonna trust anybody, trust me. If you don't trust the car, you don't believe the car, believe me, because I believe the car. I know what's gonna happen. Later, you build your confidence up because you're building more of your competence. The more competent you get, guys, the more confident you get, and the more you're willing to risk pushing the car to its limit and so on. Later, you'll see what I mean when we go to the tracks. You won't even recognize it because you've built all these skills on the donut without even realizing it. That's why I'm pushing so much this goddamn donut. Now, again, focus on the gas and where you're gonna lift off. Partially and back on the gas. And look, the wheel does its thing and we're back on the line. The wheel, let the car control the wheel for now. When we're gonna do after ramp up and we're gonna go on maintenance and maintaining the drift, then we're gonna bother with the steering wheel. Let the car do its thing, guys. Let the car, stop worrying. If you spread your focus, you're gonna pretty much, you're half, like, there's no way I can use a better word, but you're half-assing your effort and your efficiency. Sorry, my English is bad, I have to use a bit swear words, apologies for this, but I didn't find a better word for this. Stop spreading half of your efficiency. You want to put all your efficiency into one section now, into one place, so you could learn it, master it, then we're gonna push on the steering wheel more. So, because once the gas is subconscious and you work it just by muscle memory without even thinking about it, now you can think about the steering wheel. See, because then everything is gonna come into place. It's like building a puzzle. We're building the frame, boom, 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 and then ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, boom. So, now again, hold 60, lower, let the wheel go, and you see, you have these moments where you're gonna be blocking the wheel, you're gonna be locking your hands, you're gonna be grabbing it. That's normal. Everybody did it. You think I didn't get cancer when I started? Man, it was absolute. I was swearing, I was pissed. Nobody's happy. A lot of moments you lower and then you grab the wheel and this will happen. That's completely normal. So, just you have to go and fail a lot of times when you practice, guys. You have to fail. You need to go through failure. So again, here, what to do when you face these errors? Just trust. Lock your eyes on the gas and lock your eyes on like where you're going. Go through a checklist. Okay, you're here. Are you on the top of the donut? Boom. Yes, you are. Next. 1 checklist. Turn the wheel. Set the degrees. 2. Get on the gas. 3. Now look at the road. We're reaching the bottom of the donut. Lower. Let the wheel go. 5. Boom. And then you go up. 7 is don't make a pause. Number 7 is don't make a pause. What goes down goes up and what goes up goes down. No pause. Pauses and so on. We're gonna go advanced and in-depth way later on why we do this and so on. But for now, I want you to practice this. Why? Because weight transfer initiation is extremely powerful tool for you to understand how load on the car works. When we go, this is cornering. The donut is a corner, so we're now cornering. And when we lower, we shifted the weight from the rear to the front. Since the rear tires have some load, that keeps them, gripped up a little bit to the road, and it keeps the traction there. But when we lowered and now the weight went to the front, what happened is that now the rear tires no longer have the load and they slipped. Nothing was keeping them a bit to help them to be grounded up on the road, and then just the car slipped on the rear, and then the back starts to try to overtake the front. Think of fidget spinner or pendulum. Whoop, 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 pendulum. So again, what we're doing, go up to 60, we keep, the steering degree, they have load, lower, whoop, we change the load, and then we go back up, no pause. Whee! See? Simple. How hard is this? Look, guys, the car is literally coming itself back where it started. I had to steer it a bit because I lowered the gas and we killed rotation. We're gonna talk about how to control rotation a lot on the ramp up and a lot on the maintaining. Rotation is extremely important to cover. This, how to control, the weight and the rotation, how to distribute, it's all connected. You're gonna be great, trust me. Because if you know how to control the weight and the rotation, that means you've mastered the gas, how to use the throttle. Now, I want to apologize if I started raising my tone of voice at some points. I realized that when I get excited to explain stuff, I raise my tone without realizing. I studied my videos a bit and I realized, why am I yelling? So apologies for this. I don't want it to come off as like I'm yelling at you, so apologies for that. But when I get excited, everybody has a bit of a different trigger. Some people start to stutter, sometimes I stutter even. When I have so many thoughts and ideas coming to my head, I try to speak all of it, then I start to stutter because my mouth can't keep up. So everybody has their own trigger and problems when they get excited. For me, it seems like I'm raising a bit my voice. Now, in a nutshell, let's recap. Weight transfer. When, and I'll go up with heated tires to show you something. Later, if you spend tons of time driving, guys, and your tires are heated up, and then we'll do a summary. So we're gonna do this now. Let me do a few donuts to warm up the tires. And now, what you need to know, guys, once we heat up these tires, you see how gripped up the car is? We can't really use too minimal changes. We gotta use a little bit more. We're gonna turn and modulate, But when we heat up the tires, let me make notes. I'm very distracted. I'm trying to talk, think what I want to say to you. But I want the tires I want to get them to at least 55 psi, and then we're driving off the line. And one very important thing: I want to elaborate on internal versus external grip. Why I like to use these terms, I made them up because there's nothing, I didn't find anybody or anything explained or no terms in the internet. Okay, there you go. 55, we might have to warm them up a bit again because I'll stop and they will start to get colder. What is internal grip? What I call internal grip is something that we can control. What I call external grip, something that we cannot control. What is external grip is the tires, the tire temperature and the tire pressure. And why we can control them? Because if we are non-stop driving, they will just keep getting heated up, and obviously the tire wear as well. And they just heat up and the tires wear out and so on. And this is something you cannot control. This is something that will happen no matter what. What you can control is your gas, the throttle input. And by playing with the gas and the throttle, you control how much grip you have. So this is internal grip. But the external grip, the tires heating up, this is inevitable. They will heat up and you can't change it unless you apply more, you know, external thing, like, I guess, start to, you know, spray water everywhere or whatever to keep them a bit cool. But you get the point. We're not gonna go into like absolute absolute scenarios and stupid things. So now, since your tires are a bit heated up, what you need to know: once the tires were cold, you remember we had to wait till the bottom of the donut, till the bottom here of the circle. Now we no longer have to. Why? Because now we have the external factor, which the tires are heated up, and the car will slip way earlier because now we lost a lot of grip. Look when I had to initiate, because I know I did this by muscle memory, by the way. Sorry, it's like I react because I felt the wheel wanted to move. But watch how early we're gonna slip now. Way before. Instead of waiting to reach the bottom, the car slipped way earlier. Why? Because now we have way less grip and we don't need to wait the car to build up way more power to slip. So for this scenario, when you get in this moment, just try to lift off partially earlier. When you see the car is very slidey now, very slippery because you've lost a lot of grip, just lift off partially earlier. This is how to overcome this moment. And when your tires are very gripped up, you will be initiating and lowering right here in the middle. You see what I mean? So let's summarize very quickly today's session. To weight transfer initiation, you know how it works. I'm only gonna go on the checklist. First, you're here. Second gear. First, make sure that you're above the donut on the proper direction. Then second, obviously, is you're putting second gear. Third is set the degrees, -160. Fourth will be get the gas up to the base amount we need for initiation. Could be 60. For some people, if you still struggle to initiate, go up to 70 if needed. But the more power you put, the earlier you're gonna lose the grip, because the engine is sending more power to the rear wheel. So if you use 70, it's gonna be, with grip tires, it's gonna be like you're with hot tires. So imagine when you use heated tires and you go to 70, you'll probably initiate about right here somewhere, even earlier. The more grip you lose, the earlier you have to partially lift off to initiate. You don't need to lose all the grip. We're only waiting so much for the engine to help us a bit with more power and more speed, so we can overcome the grip on the back. Next thing is, number one was we're on the donut. Number two was second gear. Number three was set the degrees. Number four, get on the gas. Number five, focus on the road, reach the destination, partial lift off. Number six, and number seven, let the wheel go. Don't block it, let the wheel go. I don't want you guys to think about the goddamn wheel the moment you go. The moment you say I'm going, you build up the gas, forget about the steering wheel. Focus on the road. Look at where you're going. Okay, we're bottom. When you partially lift off, let the wheel go. You hold up the wheel till the moment you start lifting off partially. 60, wait, boom, and then you go. I'll give you a cheat code. Something very easy. Try to count with me. Set your degrees, everything good. You ready? I'm ready. Boom, 60, 3, 2, 1, lift off partially, the wheel needs to go, and then you go back up, no pause. Again, minus 160, boom 60, 3, 2, 1, whoop, and then you go back up. Watch. Whee! And if I give more gas, we build more rotation, and it amplifies. You see? We're gonna work on this later on. I hope this was useful to you guys, and if I forget something, I will try to make a follow-up video. I will cover all the details, but now we're gonna attack drifting as hard as possible on the channel. So if you like this, enjoyed it, and if you have questions, please let me know down in the comments. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, it really helps the channel grow, and we'll catch you on the next video. Enjoy learning.